The Road to Strength podcast is now brought to you by Rob Levine, the heavy hitter. We've been really happy to have them jump on as a sponsor. I've personally used them this past year. My wife was in a car accident, and they were able to help us along every step of the way through getting properly compensated, making sure we weren't getting taken advantage of by the car insurance companies, and helping through with medical payments. So if you've been in a car accident, it's definitely worthwhile. Just pick up the phone and see how they can help. The Roadie Strength podcast is now sponsored by Athletic Painting and Carpentry. For all of your exterior painting, interior painting, cabinet and door resurfacing, cabinet installation, cabinet remodel, floor refinishing, carpentry, lead renovation, and power washing needs. Give them a call at 401-675-7973. Follow them on Instagram at athletic_painting_, and follow them on Facebook at Athletic Painting and Carpentry. They are an honest, local Rhode Island company that does great work. Testing. All right, we are live. What's going on, guys? Dr. Matt here, host of the Roadie Strength podcast. We got another special guest on today, Cam Burke. I mean, first time being on the podcast, but we were ripping it up on the mics for the Invictus Boston Invitational too, so...
Yeah, no, for sure. No, I'm happy to be here. That was a fun time, too, on the stream. Dude, for this year's Invitational.
So fun. And I mean, not to get super off track immediately, but, like, it happened so organically, and it made so much sense, and I feel like it went so smoothly from, like, the MC / like, live stream production.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. No, I thought it was with working with like Zoe and Justin and working with you. We had such a good little, team going on, and being able to like come off the mic on the floor, just like yelling, hyping up, yelling out the time, doing everything, and then just be able to sit down, have a nice like
chill,
relax, chill conversation, a little more detail, talk a little bit more about the nuance of the, the sport and about like the workouts and stuff. So it was a good high and low, but I felt like it meshed super well.
Dude,
it was great.
No, it was great. So, the big thing you're doing right now is MC. So as you just said, you're like the New England and beyond CrossFit MC.
Trying to be.
So I want to go over like a lot of the different comps that you've done, but I mean, Invictus Boston Invitational, I think was the most recent, or.
So the most recent was Metcon Rush in Maryland.
Okay,
so that was about 2 weeks ago.
Nice.
So that was my second time there. That was the first event outside of Burn that like took a chance on me and invited me down. So last summer I DM'd, his name's Tim.
Yeah.
Great guy. He's been running the event this is the 9th year. So next year for year 10, it's going to be huge. He has all these big plans. He has all these things he wants to do with us. So last year I DM'd him, and on the same day, I think the other MC had to bail. And he was like, perfect timing.
Dude,
I was like, no way. So I hopped on a call with him right away, and he was like, can you come down to Maryland for these dates? And I was like, absolutely.
Let's make it work.
I bought flights immediately, like flew down, and it was so much fun. It was like a crazy competition with like high level athletes, and there's, athletes who were, scaled masters. There was like some adaptive, and there was like this whole, like, it was just like everything about CrossFit that you can think about, like every type of athlete, from starting to people that were 2 or 3 spots from making the CrossFit Games were there, and everybody got along. Everybody cheered each other on. It was just like one of the best community events that I've been so lucky to be a part of.
Totally. And it was 3 days?
It was 2 days.
2 days.
So
2 days.
Saturday and Sunday, yeah.
Very cool. Oh, that's awesome. So that's a big comp.
Yeah.
It's a
big
comp.
one. It's been around for a while, and it's like it's super fun to be there. It's like down in Hagerstown, Meadowlands. It's like an hour outside of Baltimore. So you're driving down there, and as soon as you pull up to the venue, you see the signs and everything. It's like in this big community college.
Oh, cool.
So it was really fun. It's sweet. It's like feels like family too. The little team we have down there.
That seems to be the trend. What I'm seeing from a lot of popping open Celsius right here, from a lot of CrossFit comps is like, as they're growing, as they're looking for venues, like these community colleges seem, especially in the summertime where it's off season.
Exactly.
And it's like seems to be a great partnership for a lot of comps.
Yeah, it is, especially for like the smaller towns too. Like it just gives people something to do. They were like in the newspaper, and Tim was
That's
like,
awesome.
I found out I was in the Hagerstown newspaper, and it just like brought more eyes to the event, but also was just like, this is another thing that we have to offer in the city.
Yeah.
So it's fun. It's definitely a good area, and it's a huge venue. They do running outside. This year they didn't do any running, but they had like 2 stages, and they had enough space to do the 2 stages like we were talking about earlier.
Sure.
That's like, that makes it fun too, because it's just double the action.
That's
double
cool.
the action, double the athletes going at the same time, double the ability for spectators to see something cool, and it gives more opportunity for athletes to like showcase themselves, but then like gives like opportunity for myself to like be able to go out there and talk about 2 different stages, 2 different workouts. So it's really fun.
That's cool, and it almost creates more of like a, for vendors too, like a fitness like expo type feel, where it's like a bigger stage, bigger event, more people. So, and which is always helpful for competitions. Like the more vendors you get in, the more you can help finance things, and
For
the
sure.
bigger the event becomes.
Yeah. I mean,
cool.
like having like a vendor village is just like you walk
Yes.
by and it's you gotta like. For me, I gotta like handcuff myself so I don't go reach in my wallet buying as many shoes and shirts and whatever it is.
Right.
But it is cool to see all these like new companies that have started. Like even from this past year, we had probably 3 or 4 more vendors that were there.
Cool.
And they all started up in the last year, so it's awesome. It's awesome to see them go and showcase their stuff.
Yeah, and from a company perspective too, it's like a lot of stuff has moved to online. If you want to buy things, if I want to buy Nobles, I'm gonna go buy them online. Like it's I don't think there even is a store I can go buy them in. I don't know if there's like they had the one in Boston. I don't know if it's still there. But
Yeah,
it is still there. Yeah, so it's hard to go buy this. So if at a vendor village, when you have the physical products in front of you, you're like, oh, no brainer. Like I can see how it feels, I can see how it looks, I can try it on.
Yeah,
it's a cool opportunity for some of these companies.
For sure, it is. It's awesome to have like that hands-on experience for the people.
Yeah. So getting into your background a little bit. So you're L2 coach.
Yes.
Cool. Manager.
Yes. Also.
Manager over at Spark Fitness and Andover CrossFit.
Yeah, so I'm the CrossFit manager at Spark Fitness. So
Gotcha.
Andover is the affiliate inside Spark Fitness. It's a big health club, personal training,
Cool.
group exercise classes, small group training, tennis,
Wow.
and then CrossFit as well. And then they have like a general fitness side that's open from when we're open at 5 to when we close at 10 to go and do your thing.
Very cool. Okay,
Yeah.
so is that kind of a similar setup to like I've seen I hope I don't blank on the name of the gym. My buddy Matt works out at a gym. There's a couple locations. Fit Factory.
Yes.
Is that a similar setup to that? Or?
Kinda.
Yeah. Okay.
So I've never been to Fit Factory, but it's a similar setup where there's like multiple options for people.
Yeah.
And there's like kind of like our CrossFit membership covers like you can use the general side, you can take the other classes. Tennis is kind of like a separate thing, but it's like another option for people to do. But it's similar to that where it's just more than just like the CrossFit gym that we have.
Yeah.
There's everything. I would say like everything you walk by, you can do. Like there's always like things that you can like get into that are different than CrossFit.
I've been saying this for a little while, but I could see like not the future of CrossFit, but like I could see more of those types of places opening up because it is so inclusive to like whatever you want to do, you have access to.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool.
Yeah, and I think what's like special about like these type of places, especially Spark, I've been there for it'll be 2 years in January, is even though it's like when you think of CrossFit, like you think of like community, how everyone's like so tight knit and everyone's so close.
Yeah.
Our other classes and programs are like that as well.
Sure.
So it still gives like it's a broad like kind of model where like it caters to a lot of people, but it still brings like the main core principle where it's like we're a community, like we are gonna know everything about you in the best way possible. We're gonna take care of you in and outside of our doors.
Yep.
And it's not just like some other gyms you may see that just like kind of filter people in and out. It's the complete opposite. Like we want to keep people there for forever. We want people to know that this is their home. It's their place. And we're very fortunate to have like the leadership and the coaches that do that really harvest it.
Totally. And I'm sure other people, because there's other people who go to Spark Fitness who aren't in Andover CrossFit.
Yeah.
And they might be like, I don't know, on the quad extension machine, and they see a class get out, everybody slapping hands, like, oh my God, the workout was so hard.
Yeah.
And people are probably looking like, oh my God, that person like started 6 months ago. Look how fit they look now. Like, what are they doing in there? Like, so you're probably getting people like talking about CrossFit or what's going on in Andover just from being a part of the gym.
It's an easy way to like grow our CrossFit membership because they see what we're doing, and every so often we'll like have a class or a workout where I'm like, I wonder what the people over there are just looking like. What the hell are these guys doing? They're upside down. This guy's on the rings. This guy's on a bar now. Like, what are they doing over there? And we always do like these like like free like bring a friend weeks or like free CrossFit weeks. And we have just like a Google form, sign up, put your name, let us know if you have any injuries, limitations, how you heard of us. And there's like more people than we expect that always come over from that side. They're like, I always see what you guys are doing over there, but I don't know. I've always wanted to try, so I guess I try this week. And it's like perfect week to try.
Yes.
It's an introduction week.
Yep.
Like we're going to, if you work out at 6 a.m., take the 6:15 class. It's going to be awesome. And it definitely like gives people like a chance to see like what we really do rather than just like you said, like being on the quad extension or on the treadmill. And they're like, that looks crazy, and then they look the other way. Like, what's going on over there?
And usually during those like bring a friend weeks too, like the programming is catered towards like they're not going to give you like Fran, or they're not going to
Yeah.
give you like Murph. They'd be like, okay,
Exactly.
here's a workout that like, I mean, if you're a CrossFitter, it's still good, but if
Yeah.
you're someone brand new, you can figure it out. We can make it work.
Yeah,
Like,
we always say it's like for like our community that's been there forever, it's going back to basics. We're gonna like
Yes.
break down kipping a lot. Like we're gonna spend
Sure.
a lot of time on the squat, on the press, and like the foundational movements that you always learn when you start CrossFit, and even like when you start coaching.
yeah.
But we always try to make it fun for people that have been there for years, where it's like, you know, this workout has sit-ups, but hey, if you want to throw some toes to bar in, do some toes to bar.
Sure.
That type of deal.
If you want to jump on the GHD, you go for it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. Where it's like, you know, RX is a 35-pound dumbbell. You can use a 50 if you want to, that type of thing.
Right, right.
Because those, like, you know, we give the members our autonomy to do that, but also it's like we're catering it to the people that, because you never know what you're going to get. You might get
Yeah.
people that have never worked out before.
Sure,
Or people
sure.
that have been on the general side for 5 days a week for an hour doing whatever they're doing, and they're just like, hey, I need to change it up. It's different. Like,
Yeah,
this is,
yeah.
I need some more structure.
Totally. And I think that's great that you guys do that, because I mean a lot of gyms that's one of their, you know, marketing tactics, like to get new members in the door.
Yeah.
Is like do that bring a friend week. But I think, and if you ask a lot of people like, oh, how'd you get started with CrossFit, it usually is something like that, like,
Yeah.
oh, I tried it out, somebody brought me, I heard
Yeah.
about it. And like, I don't know, if, for my case, and I've heard this from a lot of people, maybe it's not everybody, but it's like, wow, that was one of the hardest things I've ever done. I have to go back and do it again. It's like, and not all,
Yeah.
that isn't always the case, but I think for a lot of people, like that's what
Yeah.
it ends up being.
It's like it left me on the floor and
Yeah.
I couldn't breathe, and they get up and they're like, what time tomorrow?
yeah. I got to come back and do that again, because
Yeah.
clearly what I'm doing does not make me feel like that.
Exactly.
You know?
Yeah. I've never felt this way after a workout, so I need more of it.
Right. So that's really cool. How long has Andover been an affiliate there?
5 years.
Cool. Okay.
5 years. So I've been there it'll be 2 in January, like I said earlier, and
Cool.
they've been there since like right before COVID is when like the whole building opened up, and then Andover,
Gotcha.
the Andover CrossFit started with Spark.
Gotcha.
Like 5 years ago.
So Spark and Andover started at the same time.
Yep.
Very
Yeah.
cool. Okay. Awesome. So the gym equipment is probably brand new too there.
Yeah, it's nice. It's nice. It's nice. We got a good setup.
Very cool.
We got a good setup for sure.
And so you're managing over there and also coaching.
Yep.
Coaching.
Yeah.
Cool. Personal training too.
Yeah, so I do
Yeah.
a little PT. I do probably like 60-40 when it comes to like classes and PT. I love classes. They're fun. They're definitely like a really like, this morning I had a class of like 20-something people, and it's
Yeah.
awesome. And then I had a smaller class. So classes like give you like that big range of like energy, and it's like you put a lot more into them. But my clients I've been very fortunate. The clients I've had for like almost like a year plus now.
Yeah.
So
Well, that says a lot.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, it's fun. I do like some CrossFit with my clients. I do some just like basic strength training with some others that are interested in that.
Cool.
So it's all different, like different ages and abilities and levels. Like I work with a guy now. His name's Doug. Shout out to Doug if you listen to this. He's gonna be 55, and he's like, I want to make semis for the CrossFit Games.
Oh yeah. Okay.
And I was like, for Masters, I was like, let's do it. And he's,
go.
2 times a week we train, and he's doing awesome. And then I have like some other clients. I have like a group of ladies that are like 70 plus
Cool.
that just like want to come in, and they just want to sweat and like high five and move
Yeah.
around before they go to the coffee shop down the street and like,
Sweet.
hang out. And it's awesome. It's like a good range of people, that come in and want to do training, because
Totally.
everybody deserves to move, and everybody can do it differently. So it's like fun from a coaching perspective, but
Yeah.
also like nice from like, just being like personable, just being able to go from like a 20-person class to just having one client being like, "Whew, all right, nice chill hour. Like, let's get the work done. Here's what we're going to do."
Totally. Very cool. Do you guys and at Andover CrossFit, do you guys for class programming, do you like outsource that? Do you do Mayhem, or do you like guys write your own programming?
We
or
write
do you
our own.
Yeah.
So me and my boss, Kelly,
Yeah.
Kelly Vossler, she's the owner of Andover CrossFit, a really good friend of mine. Known her forever. So we split like every 2 months. So we used to
Cool.
do like, she would do Metcons and I would do strength. And then
Yeah.
I took like a whole month, and then she took a whole month. So now we just do 2-month cycles.
Very cool.
And it's probably doing that is the best that it's been since I've been there.
Nice.
It's just Kelly can like flow for 2 months, and she does a really good job. Like makes some like really gnarly Metcons
Yeah.
that people remember forever. And
Yeah.
then like she like puts a lot of detail into the strength, and then like when it's my turn, it's like, oh, I have my ideas based off like what you did, and like there's no like wrong answer, I always say, because programming is programming. Really comes down to like coaching and how you explain it and like how you're guiding the athletes.
Yeah.
So it gives us like a lot of opportunity. Like I'll have all of September and October to just be like, this is my canvas. Like this is what we're gonna do.
Yeah.
And then like she can see what I did and be like, oh, like that was really cool. Like I'm gonna try this now, and so it makes it really fun.
Very cool. And then you're also programming for Made by Mason.
Yes.
Very
yeah,
cool.
Working with Pete. Yeah.
Pete Mason. That's right.
Yeah,
Okay. I put
working
two
with
together.
Pete.
Yeah.
I've known him for a while.
Cool.
I actually, if he's listening to this, I beat him in a workout one time in a
Oh.
competition. So I guess I can say I beat a semis athlete in something. He may disagree with that, but I did.
What was the workout?
It was like an individual comp at like CrossFit 2A, and I don't think that gym's around anymore, but it was like, I want to say it was like something. It was like a chipper up the ladder, like 30 pull-ups, 40 box jumps, 50 dumbbell snatches, 60 cal row. So it was like kind of like all gas, no brakes.
Yeah.
And I got him by a second.
Let's go.
I like to remind him sometimes.
Let's go. And that's a pretty gnarly workout, it sounds like.
It was, yeah. It was. And I remember like the pull-up bar, I had to like pick up my feet a little bit because I'm not the shortest guy in the room sometimes. And the bar was like, everyone was nervous because like the way the bars were set up, I had to use like a middle bar because like everyone was using the bars on like the side. So I was using a middle bar, but it was like almost like monkey bars. And they were like, if it was like a chest bar, you would have hit your head on like the bar behind me. So I was like, I didn't even notice. Thank you for telling me after.
Right. Yeah. Thank you for not bringing it up during the workout.
Yeah. I was like, I'm glad I got out of there. And I was like, cool. And I was like done on the bar and everyone like was able to breathe after. Yeah.
No, that's awesome.
Yeah, but I've known him for a while.
That's cool. And we were just saying off air, he's out of like the Leominster area, which is near where I grew up, like Fitchburg, Leominster. I'm from Ashby, which is like right near there. But CrossFit EXP, shout out them. You're doing a comp with them pretty soon.
Yeah. Yeah. So September 14th, Partner Palooza. So it is same-sex teams of 2, and it's the second year they've done it. They've done other comps before, but it's the second year of this one, so it should be a good time.
Very cool.
Besides, Saturday comp, just local comp too, so it's always fun to do.
Yeah, that's awesome. All right, so next piece of podcast I get into is the rapid-fire questions.
Nice.
So these can be rapid. You can expand on them too. They don't have to be rapid, but first one we're going to go off of is favorite coffee shop.
Favorite coffee shop?
Yep.
Ever. This is one place called Front Street Coffee House in Salem that is no longer around. They sold the business. When I used to work in Salem and go to school at Salem State, they were awesome. But right now, the one I go to the most is just right outside of work, and it's really good. It's Cracked Kitchen. So they got a couple spots in the area, but they are like, I can throw a rock to them from when I park my car at work, and I can always stop there.
Are they in Andover?
They're in Andover, yeah. So they're right outside the gym. So that's always a good spot to go to. We got a good relationship with them when it comes to like events, and just if we all the coaches walk over there and get a coffee, they always help us out. So they're good people.
Coffee and CrossFit definitely go hand in hand.
For sure.
Next one is favorite go-to breakfast. Now you could either answer this as like, what do you like to make? Is your like normal breakfast routine, or like a place you like to go out to for breakfast?
So for during the week, I always have I should say I usually make it. My girlfriend helps me out a lot, and she makes it for me at night. She's the best, but it's usually like 4 eggs, just fry them, you know, real quick, and then I have like a big smoothie that I've been doing for years. It's like oats, frozen berries, bananas, protein, peanut butter, chia seeds, and water. So it's huge.
Awesome, yeah.
My morning's really busy, so if I have that in the morning, kind of like through classes or clients or whatever, it helps me out for like the first like 5 hours of the day.
So what do you use to blend that? Just a regular blender?
Just like a regular, we have like a little regular, just like Amazon blender that we have.
Nice.
Yeah, so it's good. It's like I have a huge sweet tooth, so I just pretend like I'm drinking like a frap.
Yeah, I mean you get the fruit in there, so you get
exactly.
Sweet. Yeah, that's cool.
But that's like go to like every day.
Nice, I like that.
But for breakfast to go out, I love breakfast.
Yeah.
I love breakfast. So I don't really know any specific places. That Cracked place has really good breakfast sandwiches.
Cool.
Trying to think of. There's usually a couple places like around that we always bop to every so often.
Cool. Next one we got is favorite restaurant.
Favorite restaurant. Sea Level in Salem. They have one in Newburyport too. It's a great place.
Seafood?
Both.
Okay.
Yeah. So they do like these incredible fish tacos, which are like my favorite thing ever.
Sweet. Okay.
Fish tacos. They do fried pickles. That combo is just elite. That's like my death row meal.
Nice. All right.
I love it.
Fish tacos and fried pickles.
My favorite.
Let's go. Next one we got, and if you're, I know a lot of people, especially if you're busy, you probably haven't read a book in a while, but favorite recent book?
I told myself I was going to remember the author too. I started this 2 nights ago.
It's all right. I can fact check it. I get the internet.
I started, one I'm listening to, and one I started reading 2 nights ago. The one I'm listening to is Diary of a CEO. So we started listening to it. My boss played in a meeting a couple chapters of random parts that he thought resonated with what we do.
Stephen Bartlett.
Yes. Yeah. He's like 30 something years old, like sold his like social media marketing company super early. He's like a billionaire now in England. In that, I listen to that like on drives and whatnot.
Yeah.
And that's really good to listen to. As far as like actually reading, 2 nights ago I started. My girlfriend and I got as a gift The Happiness of Pursuit. And it's like an adventure book. So it's this guy that traveled the world. He went to every single country. And he like wrote this book about like his journey, but also like met a lot of people that had like different journeys on the way. So that's really cool. I'm like 40 pages into that, but so far it's been really interesting.
And that's I have it in front of me. I don't see the author for it. Chris
Yes.
Goulebu?
Yes. That's right.
Something French?
Yeah.
It sounds like, all right, cool.
Yeah, that's him. We got that as a gift last weekend, and
Cool.
I cracked it open first. It's good. I like it so far.
Cool. And then this question is, a two-part because you have a cool trip coming up, but somewhere you traveled recently, but also I know you're planning on going to Greece soon, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we leave like a little under a week, my girlfriend
Cool.
and I. Her name's Kate. And we're going for both our birthdays. Hers is a week before mine, the 24th. Mine's the 31st. So we just decided on going on a big trip together. So we're going for like 2 weeks. And that was kind of like the one spot that like we both like, we're like, what about this place? What about that place? We both said Greece. So we were like, let's do it. So
Awesome.
We're traveling out there. And that's my first time out of the country.
Nice. Passport's all good to go?
Yeah, passport's ready to go. I've had that for a while, but just haven't had the chance to go outside of the United States. But I think as far as like in the States, like places that I've been to, I mean, anywhere in New England is just awesome. We go to Maine a lot.
Yeah.
Is fantastic. You know, once you're in New England, I feel like it's really hard to get out of New England.
Yes, definitely.
Unless it's like I went to like an event to MC, then I'm
Right.
going somewhere.
Right.
But like in New England, it's, we go to Maine a bunch. We're like right near New Hampshire. So like we kind of stay within our limits, but we're going to expand a little bit more.
Cool. I like it. Next one we got favorite shoe or sneaker. Now this two-part question. What do you like to work out in / what do you like to maybe like coach or just your day-to-day kind of sneaker?
Working out, Nanos for life.
Yeah, all right.
I do have one pair of like the Exo Vans or whatever they're called, the sport Vans.
Yes, yep.
I had one pair that I bought at like a men's, like not men's warehouse, like the DSW shoe place. It was like on sale.
Really?
Super comfortable, super light. I got some like funny ankle, like feet things like, with my Achilles and whatnot. So those are great. But Nanos for life. I've always had Nanos. Always been a big fan. Tried the Metcons. They were cool. Nobles to me, like first of all, they didn't have my size for a long time. I'm a size 14. So they didn't have my size for like ever.
They just didn't make them.
They just didn't make 14s, which like I get
It's
it.
fair.
It's fair for CrossFitters. And I'm like, I get it. Like not everyone in CrossFit is going to have a size 14. That's a little bit of a disadvantage. And then once they finally did, I tried them on, and I was like, these are cool. But I'm like, I don't like working out.
Them.
Yeah, I wasn't a
Sure.
big fan of like working out in them too much. I have like some runners that I kind of mess around in, but those are Nanos to like work out in are forever my like favorite.
Yeah.
I do like walking around in Nobles. Like I coach in a couple pair of Nobles.
Sure.
I have like some other like little like the cane footwear. You ever seen those?
No.
They're like if Crocs and Hoka's had a baby.
Okay.
But they're very comfortable, so I have those that I always like walk around, kind of bum around in.
Cool.
I coach in them, or like if I'm at the house or doing errands, I always
Just
throw those
comfy.
on. Yeah, they're comfy. They're just like good for just moving around for like a long period of time.
Have you tried the latest Nanos that they just came out with?
Which
Are they like the X2 or something like that?
I saw a picture of them. I
think they just came out. I haven't tried them yet, but
they look nice.
Yeah,
they do. I feel like every shoe Nanos made have been really good for some stuff and been like still kind of good for some other things.
Right,
but like they're like if I have to do a workout that involves like running and like snatches, I'm like Nanos forever. But like or if I'm like heavy back squatting, like I have a pair of Nanos where I'm like these would be good for heavy back squats.
Yeah.
That type of stuff.
Every year they kind of change it slightly.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, these are a better back squat shoe versus a running shoe.
Exactly. Yeah.
No, I agree. I think they make some of the best shoes as well. What are you doing right now for your fitness workouts? Are you doing class workouts? Are you doing your own programming or?
A little bit of both.
Yeah.
So a mix between what we do at NBM with Pete and then what we have for class.
Sure.
For me, it's like hopping in the class is just the easiest because I kind of like turn my brain off and I'm just like, coach will tell me what to do for warm up. And then we'll do the workout. Like I know what the workout is. Yeah. And then I'll be able to work out people. And I think it's really important for coaches to work out with their members in the community.
Yeah.
A while back when I was at like Invictus and like other places, I never did that. I like either did my own programming or followed that. And it's like kind of regret it because classes were always super fun. That was like my favorite part was coaching. And then once I was able to like kind of drop like I was like, all right, I'm just going to do whatever class says and like jump in the class. I was like, this is so much more enjoyable. I'm like, I look forward to this. Like I'm not like, oh, I have to jam it in between like this time and this time. I'm like, I got this hour. I'm going to be here, get it done. So I hop in the class as much as I can, 2 to 3 days a week. And then, some other days I mix in like what we do with MBM. On the weekends I'll go down to EXP and like hop in on like what we do on Saturdays for MBM. So kind of a mix and match of both.
I love that. That's awesome. Yeah, I think that's true. Like a lot of coaches, like if you're only doing your own program, you're missing out a little bit with the class workouts. There's a piece that you're an intangible maybe that you're missing out with the class workouts a little bit. Yeah,
and even like just the intensity aspect. We did a workout this past Monday with like bar muscle ups, hand cleans, and burpees.
Sure.
And I was super pumped that I finished. I did the 8:30 class.
Sure.
And I like said to someone, I was like, if I did the same workout in 4 hours after I've like been awake, did some work, ate lunch, and I was like, all right, I'm gonna do this workout at like 1 o'clock by myself. I was like, I'd be here till Tuesday morning doing the workout.
It'd be a different workout.
Yeah, but I still think I did well, even though it took me 20 minutes more or whatever, because I just like don't have the intensity of like pushing in class and having a coach yelling at you, telling you what you do.
Totally. Yeah, and giving cues and like everything, and even like bouncing ideas off other members, or even after class, like, oh my god, that was so hard. I don't know. It's just there's something different about it.
There is.
Favorite sports team.
Celtics.
All right, let's go.
The Celtics, they're the balls.
Yes.
I love them.
Yes.
I'm a huge. So this is my Jaylen Brown
Oh,
shirt.
is it? No, Juice?
Yeah,
Juice?
This is his. He has like
That's
his
his
own
brand?
like, his like own brand, and
That's cool.
yeah, he like raises a lot of money for like communities of color and whatnot. And this is like the brand that he uses. I got this at like a little like shack at the seaport. It was like one of those
cool.
little like huts. Yeah,
I like that logo too.
yeah.
With the 7.
Oh, it's awesome. Yeah.
Do you feel like you got snubbed from being on the Olympics?
Yeah.
A little bit, yeah.
But like in the best way possible with Derek White going.
Dude, Derek White's been awesome.
He's just like, you put him on any team. I think he's like this. I feel like we have like the MVP, like the most valuable player. You got like the Jokic, who's like 100 assists a game, doing these things we've never seen before. And then there's like the actual most valuable player, and it's like Derek White and like Drew Holiday. You put them on any team, and they're immediately like, the Celtics last year, who had like not a lot of defensive chemistry towards the end and kind of fell apart, to this defensive powerhouse.
An X factor.
An X factor. That's both those guys.
Sure.
But he's just like even in the Olympics, that first game when Tatum didn't play, which I thought was crazy, they threw him in there, and then he was like all over the place, and it was like he's been playing with these guys forever. And I'm like, he's just great at everything. He's great with everybody. Great everywhere.
Yeah. Any team you put him on, the team's gonna get better.
Yeah, exactly.
Which you can't say that for all the superstars, because the matchups might not work out so well. Whatever. Like,
yeah. Well, he was the one I was like most nervous about for like the upcoming season.
Derek White,
because I think he restructured, so they have like their top 7 or 8 for the next like 3 years, and they were like, well, he's gonna want this, he's gonna want that, and I'm like, it's not about what he wants. There's gonna be some teams that are gonna throw some cash numbers we've never even heard of or didn't even know existed, because he's so good and he makes teams so much better. But luckily he's re-signing with the C's.
That's great. So, he must like it here.
It's a good place. Yeah, he likes winning.
Yes, definitely. He's like, oh, we won a championship. And we're pretty good. We could probably win another championship next year.
We'll do it again. Maybe the year after that.
Yes, exactly. Little dynasty in the making. It looks like it could be. Favorite cheat meal?
Ooh, favorite cheat meal. I love sweets.
Okay.
Anything dessert is. I don't know if that counts as a meal, but like like a pint of Ben and Jerry's. I would just any type that doesn't have like. It's like strawberries or coconut.
Those are two no's.
No
go.
Like the strawberry ones are like the ones with coconut. I'm like, But anything else, it's Ben and Jerry's, I could just,
That's awesome.
Yeah. I guess in that case, I cheat quite often.
Nice. Yeah, cheat every once in a while, every night.
Cheat meals.
Yes. And then last rapid fire, we got favorite supplements.
Favorite supplements. Let's see. I use Podium a lot.
Cool.
We sell Podium at the gym. It's easy for us to grab. Their protein is great. I think they're very, very good flavors, different flavors, which I like. Hence going back to the sweet tooth. They got like mint chocolate chip and like churro and all that. Their creatine's great. I use their hydrosalts, which are awesome too. I like LMNT's hydrosalts.
Sure.
But I just feel like I've ordered like packets before, and like we always have like a running joke at the gym because we'll get LMNT donated. They're very, very generous when it comes to like events and whatnot. They're the best company. They're so nice.
Yeah.
And there's always like a pile left over of like the unflavored salt, the chocolate sea salt, and then like the mango chili. They're just like nobody ever
Mango chili is tough.
The mango chili is really hard. I had like the lemon habanero before.
Oh, I haven't had that one.
So that one was odd. I basically was like, I like lemon, I like spicy. Let's put it in my water and have it when I wake up at 5 a.m.
Or mid-workout.
Yeah, exactly. I was like, that was a tough one.
Yeah.
But like they're like raspberry, like the citrus ones. Those are all really good. But Podium is just their flavors are simple. Just they don't not like super strong.
Yeah.
But it gets the job done.
It's kind of cool how LMNT, and Podium and a lot of these. Not a ton of. I don't think actually. There's not a ton of brands doing that.
No, I know like First Form like it started to come out with like their like hydration sticks, which those are good too. Yeah. We have First Form at the gym and they've donated stuff, and those are good.
And it's kind of funny how they've rebranded what like. I think probably Kool-Aid was the first people to do it, and then like Gatorade actually made like, hey, here's our sports powder.
Yeah.
They've kind of rebranded that to like, hey, let's not put any sugar in it. Let's literally just put like salt and electrolytes.
Yeah.
And this is pretty much just what you need.
Yeah, this is what it is.
You know, and they've kind of rebranded that, and it's been awesome. I think it makes me chug my water. Basically.
It does. Yeah,
it's great.
I like make it a point. Like I always like put like a scoop in like at night, leave my like water bottle in the fridge, and I'm like, I gotta finish this, and then I can like get the good stuff. I can get my coffee because I'm like, it's hydration's important, especially middle of the summer with this heat wave we've had. I'm like trying to make sure that I'm staying on top of it.
And it does. You do feel the effect like halfway through your workout or whatever. Like I'm drained. You have a little sip of that, and you're like, okay, like here we go. Like
this is better. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
It doesn't feel like it just comes right like sweats right out of you.
Yeah, it's great. So no, I like that a lot. I've been using those too. All right, so I want to get into the MC thing because really cool, like what you're doing, like and what it's become and what it will continue to be. But how did you end up getting into it in the first place? I know a little bit of the story, but give me the rundown.
So Burn Prince,
yes,
he's the man. He's the guy who gave me the mic. We did the first invitational in I want to say it was July of 2020. It was July of 2020, and he had this vision of hosting this event, and I should have tried to get the name of the nonprofit, but it was raising money for a nonprofit. And he wanted to do it around Juneteenth every year, but it was past Juneteenth. So we hosted this event, and it was during COVID. I want to say it was like the week before Boston gyms could open. So like suburban gyms were open because we did it at Rack House Fitness. And it was it was outside because if we were outside and we were distanced, there was no mask for the athletes, but we could still go inside and like they could warm up. They could we could use the restrooms, like blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
And I remember telling him, I was like, I signed up to volunteer, and I was like, whatever you need me to do. I was like, I'll judge, I'll carry equipment, like I don't know. I was like, whatever you need me to do, man, just let me know. And he's like, yeah, don't worry about it. So I was like sitting I was living in Brighton at the time in an apartment, and I got an email from him, and he was like, Cam's gonna be the MC. And I remember looking at it, and I was like, what? I was like, I'm gonna be the MC? It was me and this one of their coaches, Molly, were both gonna MC, but I had the mic the whole time. I don't know if I hogged it or if she was like, you can have it. But I saw that and I was like, no way. So I called my manager and I was like, I need coverage for Saturday. She was like, you're going to be the MC. And I was like, I guess. I was like, I don't know why he's giving me a hot mic. And I just like, it was so funny. I was like, I just like completely like ran with it. And like, even this year I thought about like the difference from like that first time I did it. I like borrowed a buddy's straw hat, was outside the whole time.
I love that.
I got obliterated by the sun. I got so sunburned, and I had like I don't even think high noons were a thing. I had like White Claws hanging out of my pocket. I'm like, this is the best. And then like this year, I was like, I had Zoe luckily, and I'm like giving her like try this, try that, and I'm like, I was like reading through the sheet and had notes, and I was like, from now to like 5 years ago when I was like, kind of half in the bag.
Yeah.
And then this year where I was like the night before, I'm like writing down notes and stuff to say. I was like, wow. I was like, I never thought it'd be like this, but
right.
That was my very first. That was exactly how I got into it. And I was
and it's cool. Like nobody told you like, hey, this is how you have to like professionally become an MC. Like organically, you just kind of figured out like, hey, in order for me to do this job really well to the level I want to do, these are like the steps I have to take to do it. It's cool. Yeah.
Yeah. It was so much fun.
Yeah.
It was so much fun that day.
And then a side question on that you got the wheel spin a little bit. You said hot mic. Is there anything you've said on there that you wish you didn't? You're like, oh shoot, I shouldn't have wished I said that.
So I always like tell myself I swear often. Like, I'm from Boston. I grew up in the North Shore. I'm Irish. Whatever excuse I can make, I drop. I swear. I try not to. Like especially when I'm coaching, when I'm like on the mic. But like if it's a conversation, and And so I'm like, just don't swear. And I was like, and when I was like reading names too, I'm like, if I mess up someone's name, just be like, hey, I apologize. Like,
Sure,
that's kind of like the big thing with names. But I've never said, I think there's one thing I said one time, actually. It was at Spark. And there was a team, and it was a headset literally like this.
Yeah.
And I had like a fanny pack and a headset. I was like, I look like I'm like, like a jazzercise instructor. It was like, whatever. And I was reading the team names, and there was a team called like the Minions or something.
Okay.
And then I like looked over, and they were like full dressed up in like Minion costume. And in my head, I was like, it was such a bubble thought, and I was like weird, and I was like weird. Set it into the mic, and I was like, oh, put the mic down. And I like took 2 deep breaths, and I was just like,
well, that's weird.
And I put the mic back up, and the only kid that caught it was this kid's named Dean. He was doing like social media that day, so I like put the mic down, and I was like, please delete that story. And he was like, I did. And I was like, but nobody heard it because it was so loud.
That's so funny.
But I was like, I just have to treat every time I'm emceeing like I just like, don't swear. Just don't make too many jokes because people are just gonna be like, whatever. We want to know like what's going on.
Right. That's funny.
That was like that's like the worst thing that's happened. I know I've heard stories from other people that are pretty bad.
Yeah, it's hard. I mean, at this most recent IBI in Boston Invitational, it was a 14-hour day, something like that. So like for you to go 14 hours just talking and not say anything bad,
you
it's awesome.
You get a little delirious too.
Oh yeah.
By the end of the day, you look at someone. I'm like looking directly at you, and I'm like, I've said your name 100 times. I know your name.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How do you figure out how to pronounce people's names beforehand?
Well. Usually I'll just go if there's people that like a name that's like odd or like I shouldn't say odd, but like a name like I haven't seen before. I'll go to them like, hey, how do you pronounce your name? And it's always like a nickname they give me. It's like, oh, just call me AJ, just call me like EJ, like whatever it is. I'm like, cool, like good to know that way because that's like that's also like good for them to tell us because that's like what their buddies know them by. So if I like say their full name, they may be like, huh, or like in their like their friends want to know who they are.
Yeah.
So I'll ask people if it's like a name that like I have no idea like where to start or like where to begin. And it's always, I was explaining before, like it's always the people who, it's like the names you least expect that you pronounce wrong. Like you see the names that are like, it's from somebody from like some other country, like when you're like all over the place. And that's when I'll be like, hey, how do you pronounce it? And then like they'll tell me how to pronounce it. I'm like, oh, thank you. Like, I was like, thought it was something else. And I'm like, I'm glad I asked.
Sure.
Like, it happened in the, my last comp is a kid who came in 3rd place. His name's Benoit Boulanger.
Wow,
and,
nice.
Yeah. And I had to ask him after and I was like, I apologize. And he like explained to me, he's like, Boulanger, and I'm like, got it. Then after that, I was like, every time I saw him, I was like, we became buddies because he was just like, oh, thanks for asking. No one's ever done that.
Yeah.
But it's always like, it's just always like the names that like you like think and then they just have like some like odd way of pronouncing it. Like it could be like, oh, like Charlotte in lane 1, they're like, it's Charlotte. And I'm like, of course it is. Like, or it's happened. That's happened to me more than when I've just tried to like pronounce someone's name or whatever.
Well, they've probably gone their entire life correcting people like that. Like, because it looks like Charlotte, but no, it's Charlotte.
Yeah. It's like, oh, like Mike in lane 1, they're like, it's Mike. And I'm like, sure.
It's like, what is it from the dodgeball movie?
Yeah,
whatever.
Michelle.
Michelle. It's not Mike. It's not Michael. It's Michelle.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is. I'm like, sure. Like, I apologize.
I'm sorry.
I walk away and then like I see the name and I'm like, it's not.
Don't say Michael.
Mike.
It's Michelle. Do you ever like write like a hyphenated thing next to the name to?
If I have to, if it's somebody who like wants their nickname, I'll like make a note and then I'll tell the other person like, hey, they want to be called like AJ instead of whatever their name is.
So let's to get into some of the events that you've done because you've done a lot and I try to write them all down, but I'm sure I missed some. So IBI is you've done that one now.
It's the big one.
That's 4 times. How many years has it been?
Every
now?
year, 5
times.
Every year,
5 times. And I want to talk a little bit more about that, but we'll come back to that.
Yeah.
CrossFit EXP, which you will be doing.
Yes, that'll be my first time there.
For the first time, partner Palooza, and that's out of Leominster.
Yep.
With Pete Mason.
Yep.
Is he helping run that, or is he competing in that? Or
so he's the head coach there.
Gotcha.
So he's the head coach. So it's him, one of my really good friends, Amanda, and then they have Tiff and Nick as well, who also work at the gym. So they're like, they run the gym and they're putting on the event. They're really good people, but he's the head coach. He does the programming, and he does the programming for the comp too.
Cool. And then Metcon Rush is the one you just did?
Yeah. So that was July 21st, 2nd.
Cool. Okay.
Yeah, so like 2 weekends ago or so.
Very cool. And that's probably, would you say that's the biggest one you've done so far?
Outside of the Wadapalooza, I would say Yeah, I would say that was probably the biggest one that I've done. The biggest, yeah, I mean, they're all kind of like big in their own ways. Like
Sure.
Asbury Park that I did last year was just, there was a lot of people, and it was like a 2-day thing, and there was like teams of 3. Metcon Rush is like the biggest as far as like, I would say like what the event brings, like elite athletes, scaled athletes, masters athletes, that type of thing.
Cool. I didn't even catch that you did Palooza. That's awesome.
I did, yeah. I did
awesome.
This past year.
Very cool.
That was awesome. That was an incredible experience.
And then Asbury Park, where's that?
Asbury Park, New Jersey.
Gotcha. Okay. When was that one?
Bon Jovi.
All right.
Yeah,
right.
that was last summer. So it's actually, so this year it's next weekend, and it's like the same time every year. So it's like end mid-August.
Very cool.
So I did that one the week before I did Metcon Rush the first time.
Are you doing that this coming weekend as well?
No, I'll be at Amoskeag.
Gotcha.
Classic.
Amoskeag.
Yeah.
Is that the first time you're doing Amoskeag?
Yeah.
Very
Yeah.
cool. They run a big, really good comp there too.
Yeah, it looks really fun. I met a couple last weekend that owns a gym around our area that said that they do a really good job with their competitions. They get a lot of good athletes, but they also do like a really good job with just like the events and just like how it goes, and like give everybody like their own shine. So it's really cool.
Yeah, Ryan Tangway.
Yes.
runs it.
Yeah.
Coaches at Amoskeag as well.
I think so. I think he's one of the head coaches.
He goes, yeah. We had him on the podcast a little while ago. Really good guy. It seems like they run like a tight ship there. Like
Yeah.
a good comp. Yeah.
Yeah, that's always good.
Fight the Darkness.
Yes, that's the one that my my gym hosts. So
Very cool.
We've done that 3 years in a row. The very first year was the first time I was at Spark. And if I don't mention this, she'll kick my ass. But that was when I met my girlfriend Kate.
Hey.
And that was like the very first time I was at the gym. So
Cool.
I had been really good friends with Kelly Vossler, who owns Andover CrossFit. Reached out to her and I was like, love what you guys are doing for this event. And I was like, if you want me to come MC, I will. If not, like I was like, I'll judge. I'll be equipment
Sure.
team. I just want to help out. So I got to MC there, and that was when I
Very
had
cool.
the headset mic and the minions and all that.
You almost blew it with the minions.
Yeah, I did.
But it all worked out.
Yeah.
Atlantic Coast Classic.
Yeah, that was in Daytona.
Ooh.
What a place. Daytona.
All the way up and down the East Coast.
Yeah, that was cool. That was a fun event. That actually happened on like a whim. I reached out to them and they were like, sorry, we were full.
Yeah.
We'll let you know if something comes up. And then 2 guys I worked with in Palooza were working that event, and a third guy that they had known that I didn't know had to bail. So they were like, oh, this kid reached out. Do you know him? And they were like, invite him up. So got to hang out in Daytona for a little bit. That was pretty cool.
Awesome. Fight for the Fittest.
That'll be the end of September.
Nice.
They are good people, which reminds me I have to call Kelly today. Shout out to Kelly and Sam. They are awesome, and they've been doing this event for a while. They've been doing it for, I don't know.
I forget.
It's like 7+ years, but it started like all different places and like different styles. And this will be the biggest year yet it's in Long Island, the Suffolk Credit Union Arena.
Yes.
Yeah. So it's like a big, I think it's like a big, it's similar we talk about with Metcon
Community
Rush.
college.
Big community
type thing.
college.
Yeah. We had them on the podcast recently too, and
They're good people.
their energy is just like they love what they're doing.
Yeah,
so
they're
cool.
so awesome. I
And they
talked
got
to
the
Sam a
pool.
lot. Yeah, they got the pool too. Talk to Sam a lot every so often. Kelly and I go back and forth on like the Instagram page, but
Yeah.
they're really good people.
They're going to continue to be a really awesome competition. They're in New York, so I don't know if that's considered Northeast. Yeah, Northeast,
Yeah.
not New England.
Not New England, Northeast,
yeah. They'll continue to be
Down
an
a
awesome
strong
comp there.
island.
Yes. Northeastern Classic.
Yeah, so that was formerly known as the Meadowlands Classic. So that is this upcoming November. So it'll be my second year doing that. My buddy John Gonzalez, he actually just started his own like athletic gear company, Herd Athletics.
Cool.
He's a really good dude. I met him in Asbury, and this year is down in New Jersey for the Northeastern Classic. And he does a really good job. He's got a lot of like cool prizes for athletes. That'll be like similar to like a kind of like Metcon Rush, not like as many people, but like more like geared towards like the elites. But there's like the RX division, and there'll be like a Masters division type deal. So there's like still showcasing like kind of different like areas of the sport.
Awesome. The partner throwdown.
Yeah, that was a good one. That was
Portland?
Portsmouth.
Portsmouth.
Yeah, Portsmouth. So the port's been around for a while. Southie is a really good friend of my friend Kelly's, and that was just at the time I didn't have anything really booked, and I was like, I would just love to get out there and just like, I was like, tell her I'll come up. I was like, I'll volunteer, whatever. I was like, if they want me to just yell on the mic, I'll yell on the mic, and it was fun. It was like a couple hours, local comp. They got a really cool spot. Mike Talermo is their head coach, who I've known from when he was in a gym back in the North Shore. So I got to see him. He's a good dude, and he did a really good job with like the programming and the way it was run. But it was cool. It was like that gym's been around forever. They've been an affiliate for a long time, so they did a really good job, and it was like cool to see them like getting back into the competition like space a little bit, like bringing back like just the old school workouts and whatnot. It was really fun.
That's awesome. And then last one I have listed is CrossFit Southie.
Yeah.
Which I was at the comp that you did most recently. Yeah.
Southie Showdown.
Yes.
That was like when I was competing, I guess you can call it competing.
Yeah.
That was like my CrossFit games. I was like, I can't wait for Southie. I'm going to go. And I competed 3 times there before I started emceeing, and that was my favorite weekend of the year.
They run a great comp there.
Yeah. Chris and Amy are wonderful people. They are like, that gym is just like awesome. They've like done so much, and that area is so cool. And every year the Showdown just gets like better and better.
That's awesome.
I'm excited to see what the future holds for them with this now that they have like their other locations. But that was probably I think outside of Fight the Darkness, like the next event that I emceed at that wasn't the Invitational. I reached out to one of their coaches and was like, "Hey, saw you're at the Invitational. Like, you mind if I come by?" And they were like, "Oh, I'll ask Chris." And then Goose reached back out to me. He was like, "Hell yeah, man." He's like, he was like, let's do it up. He's like, "When we get closer, I'll send you some information."
Cool.
And that's always a good time. They do a really good job.
Yeah, that's a really fun comp.
Yeah, that comp's cool because it's like way back in the day. Like Fraser went there for like fun. He like competed
really?
there. I think so. Like competed like years and years ago. But now there's like other like bigger like Northeast like semi athletes that come by. So it's a good spectacle.
Yeah, definitely. It attracts some dogs.
Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah.
And did I miss any big ones?
Oh man.
I mean, we just listed off like 15.
Wadapalooza was one.
Yep.
Asbury Park was another one. That was a good time. That was a big event I did. First one like outside of New England, New Jersey.
Cool.
Wadapalooza was just incredible. It was so much fun.
How did that happen?
When I did Asbury Park,
okay,
I met Dylan Malitsky, who works for Loud and Live, and he had like Wadapalooza is like his event. He used to be an MC for the CrossFit Games.
Gotcha.
I like shared a house with him. It was like me, him, Lauren Khalil.
No way.
So I got to meet like all sorts of people that weekend. I was like, this is a blast.
Yeah.
And Dylan was like, he was joking around with me. We were like sitting down having a coffee, and he was like FaceTiming, I think his wife. He was like, "This is Cam's Wadapalooza tryout," and I was like, oh, I laughed, like, and I walked away, and I was like, uh-oh.
Oh no, I better be on my A game.
I was like, I know. And then luckily I hooked up with him after. Then he connected me with Sasha, who runs the media team there, and she's wonderful, cool. super nice. Cool. And Mike Richards, who is like the head of the MC team, like I got to talk to him a little bit before, so that was how I ended up in Miami. And when I got down there, everyone was like, it was great. It was like one of the first like times I got to receive like every event I've been to, they were like, you're not trying to blow like to my own horn, but they're like, you're awesome. You bring so much hype. You do this, you do that.
No, that's good to hear.
But it was like the first time I went down to an event, and I was like, it's like how, like what can I do better?
Yeah.
I'm like, what did I mess up? And like the people I worked with, I was with Bella Martin, who is like, she's fantastic. I actually got to be with her at the Meadowlands Classic. Her and I MC together.
Cool.
She's down in Texas now. She's doing like a little bit more like broadcasting, like analyst stuff.
Yeah.
And then this guy Joe, who is from Spain, and he does like kite surfing in Spain. He does like all these crazy sports, including CrossFit. Like every like European and like in that area like event, he's emceeing there.
Sure.
So I like followed them around all weekend, and they were both like just as like pumping me up as they were like critical. They were like, "Hey, let's try this, let's try that," and they were like giving me tips and pointers. And it was like opened my eyes like a whole new world about like watching like when teams go, like individuals. And I was like so thankful for like the feedback at the end. And there's like in Joe, he was like one of the people like during teams. He's like, it's the hardest thing to do. And like we're on this like floating dock. It's like the barge, and there's like 3 to a team, 10 teams. So there's like 30 dudes. There's like a 200-pound worm. They're running in and out of the dock going swimming. They're slamming the worm. So like the barge is floating, and I'm like in charge of like kind of like trying to see where I am, but I'm like swaying back and forth. I was like, am I seasick right now? Like what's going on? So I'm like, it was like a really challenging environment. And then there's the occasional Wadapalooza like hurricane that comes down in the middle of like when you're, there's people on the pull-up bars and it just rains for a second. You're out there with a mic and you're like trying not to like let it blow up in the rain. You're like, what's going on? So it was high. I mean, a lot of highs, not many lows, which is good, but it was great like learning experience too.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
Is there opportunity to do that again? Are you doing that again?
Hopefully.
Yeah.
Hopefully.
Cool.
I've chatted with them back and forth. The one in California I reached out about, they're kind of keeping it just because it's newer. It's kind of like sign up.
I didn't even know they were doing that in California.
Yeah, SoCal. So
cool.
in like a month.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Okay.
So they're doing it like the 20th to 22nd. So
like immediately after the games.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
So that's been it sounds like it's been in the cards for a while. So there's that one. Then in Miami, hopefully, around this time to like October, I was like in chats with them about Miami. Just like it was, hey, fill this application, boom, 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 reviewed it. They're like, you're in, and then they're like, let's talk more about like where you'll be staying, or like how are you gonna get here, like how often can you be here, that type of deal. So I would love to go back again.
That's cool.
It was an amazing experience.
Yeah, I mean, if you think about like what we compare all these like the gold standards, like what are they doing at Wadapalooza? Like what are they doing? So that's I mean the games too, but I feel like the games is kind of in a category of its own a little bit.
Yeah,
like Wadapalooza is like, hey, this is like it's not a local comp by any means, because it's grown to a national or world level comp, really. But it's
there's
like
people from all over the place.
But it runs, I think, I don't know the back end of it, but it runs like semi-independently of like the whole CrossFit world.
Yeah,
and it runs, but it can run by itself without like the CrossFit. It seems like the support of CrossFit, with or without it, it'll exist, but on its own type of thing. So very cool.
That's like with them being with Loud and Live, like Dylan does a great job. And, like everyone who like works it does a fantastic job like running the entire event. But it is kind of like its own. It's just like another off-season event where like it gives like the elites an option to go there, win some cash. Like it's the tier Wadapalooza, so like the tier athletes go and they do their thing and they do their meet and greets and whatever, and they like hang and they're showing off the tier gear and all that stuff. But then there's like I think it makes room for like the other athletes who are like kind of like on like the cusp of like making it to the games, but it gives them an opportunity to like compete against the big dogs.
Yeah,
it gives like the people who maybe at like semis came in like the 20 at the 30 range or the 30 plus, or they were like 2 or 3 spots out of semis to train, go to Wadapalooza, and they're Pat Fellner's on their left and Gerard's on their right, and they're like, let's see how this goes, like that type of deal. So it gives them like a really cool opportunity to like for like the upcoming season to prepare. And the same with the other divisions too, like the RX division, like those people that want to get better and make it to eventually elite, and like intermediate, make it to RX. It's like a high level stage and comp to be like, it's a true test. It's different than like you're going to your local comp where it's like, I've been working all year doing this. It's like now you're with the big dogs in any division. Totally.
Which kind of brings me to the next question. Any other comps that you haven't done yet that are like on your radar, like, oh, I would love to do like that one? You've done a lot, so that's just like
really anything outside of New England, just because like it is an opportunity to travel.
Sure.
So like Fitness on the Coast seems like a really cool one. I met some people from there that volunteered and that have gone there before. Desert City in Arizona looks really fun. Even like the now like how they have the Masters and like the teens and the adaptive, like those events seem really cool to do too. There's a lot out there. I have like anytime I see an event and I'm like, it fits in the schedule and somewhere I can go to, I'd send them a message. Hey, I'm from Boston. I've been doing MCing for this long. Like
you got a resume.
Yeah,
you definitely got a resume.
I know. I'm very fortunate too. So I tell them like, if they ask me where I've been, I'm like, here's where I've been. And then it's cool how like everyone's like connected. They kind of know each other. So like if I were to like reach out to like another event in like Maryland, for example, they're like, oh, you did Metcon Rush with Tim, and then Tim's a good guy, so Tim could like, he says like, oh, we had Cam here, this and that. So it's a big community, a big family at the end of the day.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
Switching gears slightly. On the podcast, I do a lot of CrossFit stuff in general, but I also have listeners who are like outside of the CrossFit world, who are like there's like fitness, like strength conditioning, whatever. So for people, and hopefully if they've gotten this far in the podcast, there, but for people who don't really understand like the idea behind like a CrossFit competition, and this may be a hard question to ask, but I think you'll do fine. What can you break down like what a comp is and like why people are doing it? Because like normally, like let's use an extreme example. Like if someone's going to Planet Fitness, like I think the idea of like why are people like competing in the sport of fitness, like that doesn't really make sense. I'm just here doing my leg press or my quad extensions. Like how does why are people doing CrossFit comps? Like what's the idea behind like competition with CrossFit?
Yeah. So I mean in CrossFit there's like the sport of CrossFit, and then there's like just like the GPP, like that we see, constantly varied functional movements at high intensity that we see every day. And what really kind of separates the both is that like not like CrossFit competitions aren't CrossFit, but they're just a different way of kind of showcasing like what it is and how you put it to the test. Because like if we like for people that are competitive and people that want to like do something fun and like kind of it's just another way for them to put their fitness to the test. But there's like different like degrees of intensity to that. There's like we talked about like the events that I've been to, like the Metcon Rush, the Whatapaluzzas, and then there's like the fun partner ones like the Partner Palooza, even like Amaskeg or like doing like Fight the Darkness is like a fundraiser. So for like these competitions, like the main goal, yes, is like it's competitive. Like there's going to be a winner, there's going to be a second and third place. There's somebody always has to come in last, but it's a like true. It's an attempt to be like a true measure of like your fitness and like what you've been working towards in like the most fun and like least not. I shouldn't say least competitive because it is extremely competitive. Like the most fun, like the least like I guess intimidating way possible because there's something for everybody at all these events.
Yeah.
There's a category for any athlete to compete with people that are just like them and push themselves just like how, there is like with one another side by side, and being able to like test how hard you've been working.
Sure.
But also getting like to push people and like make friends and like kind of like build this community. Like there's like the CrossFit community and like the competition community like go hand in hand.
Yeah.
Because there's people that come and support. There's people that like love to judge. There's people that will do every single comp, every single weekend ever. Like I was the same way. I used to travel and do competitions all the time because it was just a really fun thing to do on the weekends.
Yeah.
But also like I had the opportunity to be like, hey, like I've been working on my clean a lot. This workout has cleans. Like let's see if it's working. Let's see like if I'm getting better, and like let's see how like I do in this one compared to like before, that type of stuff. And it's just like a way to like build relationships and meet people. So like the true like essence of the competition is more about the community and more about like the relationships you build and like the friends you make and like the environment and like the energy that it brings, rather than like I came in here with a goal of like winning and beating everybody, but like you leave with so much more.
Yeah.
You leave with so much more. You leave with, again, meeting tons of new people, making these relationships, being able to go into a new space, see new things, do different things, like learn from these other gyms and stuff like that. So it's really just like you gain so much more than just whether you're like first, second, or third.
Totally.
Yeah.
No, I totally vibe with that. Like it's almost like during if you ever done the CrossFit Open for viewers, like it's like you get that. You get your daily class experience, and the CrossFit Open is a different type of feel, different experience, different kind of push. Like you're almost able to take some of that in like every comp you do. There's a little bit of that like same feeling.
Exactly.
That's cool.
Yeah. Like when the gyms do like Friday night lights, and they come to like the Friday 4:30 or like 5:30, then there's different heats. They're like, why does this feel different than Friday like 2 months ago? And I'm like, because I was like, we're gonna be like, you're gonna have a judge counting your reps. I was like, the music's gonna be up. I was like, this is a workout that CrossFit has made to see if basically like, yes, your fitness and training is improving, but like this is a level that you're at right now. Like it's okay if like when we do dumbbell snatches and burpees, you're like, man, this is like going to be rough. Like it's a hard workout. It's supposed to be hard, but like there's the aspect of like you're going to have people here pushing you more than if it were just a regular Friday night. But also like we get to see if the 3 days a week you've been doing are paying off for you. It's like your annual checkup type deal.
Yeah, I like that. That's something I took my level 2 course recently too, and they talked about the programming aspect of it. And they're like, there should be some like checkups in the programming. Hey, let's see where we're at. Maybe the benchmark workout. Like Annie, whatever. Take for example, like, did I improve my score from when I pre-tested it? If yes, awesome. Okay, maybe we'll leave that for a little bit. We'll try something else for a little while, or if not, like why not? Like let's make some changes or whatever. So I like that idea. Yeah,
it is. That's like the fun thing with programming too.
Yeah,
it's like we try this, we work on it, and then we try it again, and it's like, did it go up? Did it go down? Did you get faster? Did you get slower? Did you get more rounds? Did you get more weight? And it's like, cool, it worked.
Right. Yeah, test retest.
Yeah, great job.
Here's another question that might be on the tougher side, but same thing. What do you think? And I don't want to say good from bad, but what do you think creates a great competition? What separates a good comp from a great comp? What are some intangibles, data points?
So some kind of like different things, like I guess like regarding like the structure of a comp is if it's not like people can only pay attention to a workout for so long. I think the shorter and kind of more intense and like faster to the point the workout is, and it's not like super fast. Like
Sure.
I mean like 4 minutes at a time, like 6 minutes at a time. 8 to like that 12-minute range. Mm-hmm. I think those are great workouts because it's fun to like keep the energy up for that long.
Sure.
And that's also like the kind of like pace that like if you're doing like a workout in class, like you're gonna hit it hard, and you and your partner are gonna hit it hard, and you get to see some like crazy stuff, and it's really fun to watch. And then those are like the ones where like it comes down to the wire.
Sure.
At like the last like couple seconds or last like minute it is.
Yeah.
So from like a programming standpoint, I think that's like the best way to structure it is like like I get it like for like the CrossFit Games, like these bigger like 3-day events, they have to like have something long, then they have something short, then they have like a weightlifting specific, but like it's just like a 1-day thing.
Yeah.
Keep it succinct, keep it to the point, like maybe an AMRAP, maybe one thing for time, a little bit of weightlifting because everyone loves to see heavy barbells get thrown around. That's like the most exciting way to structure it.
Sure.
Final workouts I think are great too, but sometimes like just depending on how long the day is, by the time the final comes around, the teams that like don't make it to the final, they're like, oh, whatever. And then the people that do stick around, like people get to watch them, and then it's kind of like a workout where not as many people stick around and watch it. It doesn't make it as as exciting.
Yeah.
So like I love doing like fun like little floater workouts. We did like a ski and sled sprint. For our Fight the Darkness one, we did tennis and like I think it was skiing. I get like tennis and skiing. So like he did ski cows, and you had a bunch of CrossFitters who try to hit a tennis ball.
Oh, you literally, I'm like tennis. What is that?
Yeah,
like, tennis.
Like tennis. Yeah, like they went to the court. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think from like a programming like structure standpoint, that's like a really like fun way to do it, where it's just like short and to the point. Like they're gonna test their fitness, and it's like fun for people to watch because it's not like the same. It's not like super long, but it's also like multiple heats of like the same workout, but it's like boom, like one after another.
Nice.
But I think like even on like a more broader like spectrum of that, like what makes a good comp good is your people that you have in your gym that are helping you doing it. Like we are so fortunate that like our members like are super friendly. They're super nice. They get it. They like the ones that want to judge really want to judge, and they're encouraging, and they hold the standard, and they run it. They do an awesome job. They do an awesome job, and they don't complain, and they're just like, hey, we share lanes, we buddy up with someone. I'll take the first 2 heats, you take the second 2 heats. So I think just having like that, because everyone, like a competition is a competition. Everyone gets a little nervous. And if it's like a scale team, if someone's like first competition, like we're so excited when people get in there. Like if you come into my lane and I'm judging you, you're like, this is my first comp ever. I'm going to be like, you're going to love competing so much after this, I promise you. And then usually they do. They drink the Kool-Aid and they're like, I need to go to every comp.
Yeah.
And it's like a fun like challenge, and it gives them something to do. It gives them something to work towards.
Yeah.
So that's like having like a welcoming, like again, like a welcoming environment, like a welcoming team of people that like, just everybody that comes in feels comfortable, but also like feels encouraged. They feel supported. They feel like they're going to be pushed to their limits, but at the same time, they're going to get the biggest high five, and then they're going to scribble on the sheet, and then thanks, we'll see you in your next event.
Sure.
That is always like the number one thing for us. And when that happens, everything else just kind of falls into place. Like events run on time. People, like if we get behind 5 or 10 minutes because like, we're like for like the workout with like pull-ups, we need like risers, or like we're switching lanes because like this bar's too high, too low, like those type of things happen all the time. Or it's like, we got a barbell that's like misloaded, and it's like, oh, we got to change it real quick, or we need a dumbbell in this lane. Like that stuff happens all the time. Yeah. But but luckily, like when you host these events, like you have people that are like used to that. They're just, everyone enjoys your event so much more because the people that are there working enjoy it so much more.
It takes a village.
It does. It takes a village. It absolutely takes a village.
I know that's one thing from being at IBI for the past 3 years. It's something that Byrne has said over and over again. Like it takes all the volunteers.
Yeah.
It takes everybody. He always does a good job of thanking everybody. Which I do want to touch upon the IBI a little bit more because I said I was going to. I also want to be respectful of your time. You got a little more time?
Yeah, we're good.
Cool. All right.
Whatever, man.
So what have you seen? Because this is a question I asked Bernie when I had him on the podcast recently. What have you seen that was like really cool? Because IBI is where you started.
Yeah.
And you've done all 5 competitions. What have you seen that's like evolved that like they've done? Burn and you guys in general have done like really good like year after year. How has it evolved? Like how has it gotten better?
Yeah. Do it like IBI in general or like other
IBI, just IBI, yeah.
What it's really cool, like seeing the different divisions is always cool too. Like when we started off, I think it was just like it was just like men's, women's RX. I
Sure.
think there might have been a scaled, or I think there might have just been like a men's division, women's division because it was much smaller. And then there was like teams one year. And what like Burn, like I love about like Burn's programming, like he's like right on top of like all the movements that like are coming out and people are doing.
Yeah.
And he's been in CrossFit for a while.
Yeah,
Like he's been in the game for a long
He's an
time.
OG.
He's an OG and he's been in the game for a long time. And like usually people that are like that, they're just like, we do our handstand push-ups this way. We do
Sure.
our pull-ups this way, whatever. But he's like, no. He was like, you're going to be doing freestanding handstand push-ups if you make the final. Like, if you think you're going to be in the top 5, start practicing.
Yeah.
Or like the duck walk thing I thought was like so interesting. And I was like, some people saw that and they were like, huh? And I was like, that was like incredible to use because you see these tools you have at your gym and you're like, we got to put these in there. Like, this is different. It's unique.
Yeah.
And he, like with the programming too, like he's done such a good job. And what I really like is that like he brings back like older workouts and puts them in, whether it be like in the qualifier,
Sure,
or like puts them in like the workout later, like a year or two later,
Yeah.
because that's like another test. It's like another measure.
Sure.
And it's like think about like what we see in like the CrossFit games, and like it's like this year they have a clean ladder of 365 for guys, and then for the ladies I think it's like 250, 65, 275, something crazy like that.
Okay.
And we'll see more people hit that weight this year.
Sure.
Than ever. And like when Burn brought back the clean ladder, we had more people finish it that year than they did the year before. And it's like people are getting stronger, people are growing, and he's like right on top of that. He's just like, how can I challenge my elite athletes more, you know, in years 6, in years 7, you know, like what can I bring to the table for the RX people? Because now like RX is getting pushed pretty hard. You know, they were wall walking this year, but like eventually you may see like handstand walks for RX. So he's constantly moving the needle for people, but like it's also one of those things where like it gives them that goal of just like, okay, if I want to do RX at the Invitational this year, I start working on my handstand walks.
Yeah.
I got to start doing duck walks. I got to start doing crossovers, at high, deadlifts at 275, 315 plus, muscle ups, all that stuff. And that's like how, like we see most of these local comps, and they're not all like that, where they're different workouts every year, but it's like the same, like essential, like challenge, but like that's okay because it's like different, like metcons and different populations. But for someone like him, where he knows he's gonna have like returning athletes, it's like how do we push you guys more? Like what can we give you that's gonna like push you for you to train harder, to get better? And it's just, again, it's the spectacle of it as well, is like it's awesome. Yeah, it's awesome. Yeah. Like taking like the final this year with like the ring muscle ups and hand release push ups for RX. There was like a whole, 5 ladies that were all doing ring muscle ups that finished like the first 9, and then there was like the guys who all finished their muscle ups. And like once upon a time, that wasn't possible. That wasn't possible. That wasn't something that we would see 3, 4, or 5 years ago. But now he's like, he gets it. He's like, these women are strong. They're getting, everyone's getting really good at gymnastics. We got to push these people. How do we push the elite people differently than the RX? And that's like, it's cool to see that growth like along the years.
Yeah, and I mean, this year's final, I know everybody has their own 2 cents they want to throw at it. Like this year's final was definitely more gymnastics based than maybe the final a year or 2 before when he did the clean ladder. Yeah. But that's CrossFit. You got to be ready for anything.
Exactly. You got to be ready for anything. Yeah.
It was cool to see, like you said, the freestanding handstand push-ups, which is from a spectator position, like, holy crap, these people can do that? Yeah. And then the ring muscle-ups, like, it's almost reminiscent of, like, I mean, the Olympics has been on, like, seeing some of these people on the rings in the Olympics, like, oh, these are CrossFit athletes that are doing some pretty incredible stuff. So it's a cool showcase.
It is.
Yeah.
It's an awesome showcase. Yeah. And with, like, workouts like that, too, you never know, like, who's going to, like, pop off and do something like crazy.
Sure.
Like that girl, Katrina DiGiacomo.
Yes.
From Base Wellness now.
Yes. Yep.
She like did everything unbroken and flew through it. And I was just like, I remember looking around. I was like, that was amazing. I was like, and I told her, I was like, that was incredible. I was like, you did something so awesome. And then there was another girl, her name was Anna, who did like all her muscle ups unbroken in RX. Yep. And even for like the guys who like were figuring out the freestanding push-ups, there was, I can't remember his name, but there was one gentleman who like flew through the entire workout, and he was just like, I asked him after, he was like, I was hoping to get the first round done, and he was just feeling pretty good that day.
Yeah. That's cool.
It's awesome. It's awesome.
That's really cool. Changing subjects slightly, or I guess not, kind of on the same vein as that, but any athletes to watch in like this kind of New England comp scene coming up, and it's hard for me to, it's almost unfair for me to ask you names because it's probably true, it's probably tough to remember. But if there's anybody that kind of pops up, like 1, 2, 3 names, they're like, hey, this person's doing some cool things, and like they'll continue doing some cool things in the sport.
Two names that pop right into my head. Well, three. I mean, there's always my buddy Pete. He's a great athlete, and he works super hard. He's always fun to watch these events. He did great at Metcon Rush. I'm very fortunate to not only work alongside him programming, but I get to see him when he trains sometimes, and he really does like bust his tail.
Yeah.
His training partner and now one of my friends, Emily Morin, she competed at Southie and the elite division. She came in like third or fourth, and she actually qualified for the 35 or 39 CrossFit Games.
Wow.
She's only been doing CrossFit for a couple of years. She's going to be somebody really, really fun to watch going further because she's just like loving life and having a good time. Like had a goal of making it this far, and she got there, and I was very lucky. I got to train with her last weekend when my girlfriend and I were up in Maine, and she's like ready to go. She's ready to go. So at the end of the month, she'll be able to go there and show off there.
Sweet.
She's really cool. And then there's a gentleman who he did IBI, and he went to semis this year. His name's Zach Levy. So he goes to Timeless CrossFit.
Yeah.
And the last competition that I did, it was a team of 3 in Gardner, and it was there was one of the events was like one person does like a snatch complex. It was like snatch, overhead squat, hang snatch.
Yeah.
And then there was like a clean complex, and then the third person does clean jerk. So it was basically like one person like just getting like a little heavier like each like round.
Sure.
And he was in front of my friend Chris Safoli. He's a great guy. I work with him. He hit like 255, and it was a PR for him, and he was pumped. And then directly in front of him, this kid Zach hit 365, and we were all looking around. I remember like Pete was there, and then there was like a photographer that was there, and he was like, I just Googled like who can clean and jerk 365, and he was like, did you know Rich Froning and Matt Frazier can? And I was like, yeah. I was like, those are those numbers. So
beast.
Yeah, he was at the Invitational.
Yeah,
he did well there.
I think was he there last year as well? Potentially.
He might have been there 2 years in a row. I can't remember. I know his buddy was.
Okay.
He has another buddy, Zach, that was there, but he's also like a really, really stud athlete. And like he told me, he was like, when I made semis, he was like, I was pumped, but he was like, shit, man, I got to get ready now. And he worked super hard, and he did really well. So he's like another big up and coming guy to watch.
That's cool.
Down in like, like the Jersey area, like when I go and do like comps there, the levels are so much different.
Sure.
And it's like a lot of people that go to semis and a lot of people that go to, or like they're like on the cusp of semis.
Yeah.
So there's always somebody new that kind of surprises you.
Yeah.
And that's always really fun to see, because like you look at kind of like, I get like the heats, I look at the rosters, and I'm like, this person did really well last year, that person did really well, they'll do well this year, and they still do. But every so often there's like a name that pops up, and I'm like, who's this? And then I'm like, oh, they're in second place right now. They're in first place. They just had 2 event wins. And I'm like, huh? And then I look up, and I'm like, I'm glad they're here. Like somebody new to like kind of challenge the people that have been here before. So it's really fun to see.
That's cool. I like it. No, just out of curiosity, because I know you've gone to so many comps, you've probably seen some trends there.
Yeah. Every so often there's somebody who sneaks in that I'm like, you look familiar. And I look, and they went to the games like 6 or 7 years ago, and now they're just like having fun. And I'm like, good for you.
Yeah.
Good for you still being out here.
You may have touched upon this a little bit already, and I just have a couple last bullet points for you. But any trends that you're seeing in comps that like this year, and maybe predicted trends that you might see next year?
I think like kind of like talking about like with IBI and the Invitational, like the progression of just how hard divisions are getting is changing. It's changing, and I think that's good, because it's just another challenge, and like the sport's growing. We're seeing people that are like cleaning weights we've never thought we could be clean before. We're seeing people snatching weights, and we're seeing people do like unbroken sets of like gymnastics we've never seen before. So they're keeping up with like they're trying their best to keep up with the pace, because it's hard. Like it's not like the athletes are outgrowing the sport where it's like we need new challenges, but like the challenges are coming. Like Castro mentioned, he was like, we're going to see a movement we've never seen before at the CrossFit Games, and I don't know what it is yet. They said it's something that's been in CrossFit for a while. And I still don't know what it is, but it's like it's gonna be interesting to see like what this movement is that has been in the CrossFit before, but now they're putting it to the games, and it's like, how will that challenge the athletes? Yeah. So a lot of these events are like kind of keeping up like with like the trend of like, there's wall facing handstand push-ups now. Yeah, so we see that. Yeah. Oh my God, those are like terrifying for me. I get up there and I just look down and I'm like, that's a long way to go.
Hey,
like,
how tall are you?
I'm 6'3". Yeah. I am not built. I'm built for wall balls. I'm not built for handstand push-ups.
Yes.
So we're seeing, like legless rope climbs from the floor. We're seeing, like the freestanding handstand push-ups with Burn, wall facing handstand push-ups, pirouettes in handstand walks. So we're seeing these like trends of like the movements just like adapting per level. Sure. But what I also think is good is that like the level is also like dropping down for like the division below. Like the eliters doing like the pirouettes and the handstand walk, where like RX is doing handstand walks now. But that was like once upon a time that was like a forward movement for RX, because it was you're doing like wall walks. So you're like, instead of handstand walking, we'll do like a carry or like a handstand push up, that type of deal. So it's like progressing as like it's keeping up with the sport and these other events. And there's some events that they're just kind of keeping their standards and doing what they do, and they just like they make their workouts the same way, and they do an awesome job. And they're fun. They're still fun workouts. They're still great to watch. They don't want to follow the trend of like, we can do kipping handstand push-ups just how we normally do. Like put your hands here, do whatever it is. So you don't have to do wall facing. Rope climbs, you can use your legs. We'll do regular pull-ups, no pullovers, whatever. And I think that's great.
Yeah.
But it's great to see these events too, where like you see these like exciting workouts, because the people in the crowd that get it, they're like, this is gonna be awesome. Like, Southie had a final with like pullovers, and people were just flipping all over the place. And there's like some that got there first, and people that did all of them unbroken.
Yeah.
And it was like really cool to see, because I was like, the movement was like just introduced. It was
and
they were like, well, let's just throw it in there and see what happens. And they crushed it. And so it's really cool to see like these like competitions that are getting bigger, also like with their programming, like they're not afraid to throw something in there that's like, this might be a little dicey. We might see some people, staring at the bar being like, what do I do now?
Right.
Some people like staring at the wall being like, I did one, but I still have 5 more left. Like, what the hell?
Yeah.
But then, there's some people that just crush it.
And that happens, I feel like, pretty much at every level. I mean, in the open, you'll have that. You like muscle ups. All right, I'm to the muscle up portion. I can't do any muscle ups. Time to practice for 10 minutes.
Exactly.
It's like, or even like at the IBI this year, there was someone who's like, they could do like a couple ring muscle ups, but not to the volume that was prescribed. And they're like, all right, I guess we're just gonna get some practice in for a little while.
There was one girl who did singles, and there was like a 10-minute cap. Rachel, I think was her name.
Yes.
She's Rachel Grant. She's awesome. She was like, that was my first workout ever doing ring muscle ups. She goes, I just figured these out not too long ago. And I was like, look around. I was like, look at where you just did your first workout doing ring muscle ups. I was like, you can do any ring muscle up anywhere. I was like, and you're going to do great at these. And it was just such a cool thing.
This is a similar question. Any fads or anything that like comps have kind of like left behind that you're like, all right, good. I'm glad we're done with that. And maybe not. Maybe there's no answer.
I haven't seen much of like comps leaving things behind. Actually, I will say I think, and I love floater workouts. I just think it's just something fun for like the community to do in between, and it gives people something to do in between events. I think a lot of people are straying away from doing floaters and doing finals. So it's like, you get 3 workouts. The 4th is if you're in the top 5, top 10. And I think there's a place for both. When we do like our fundraiser comp, that's like all lighthearted and it's fun. It's meant like for something else. Floaters are great there. But then when you have comps where like cash is on the line, and things like that, which we held a competition in April where we had a floater and didn't have a final, and we gave out a cash prize. But like, the ones where like there's more money on the line, like a final, I feel like is more appropriate, because it's like these are the top 5 teams fighting for however much cash is on the line. Like, let's do a dogfight. Let's do it.
Yeah.
So I feel like the floater is slowly getting like kind of pushed away, and then like we're starting to see more events do finals, because they're cool to do, and they're fun to watch if people stick around and watch them. So that's like the one thing I see.
Cool.
When I was at like Iron Spider and all these other places, and I used to do comps, I feel like programming was pretty, it was the same like as for some of these other events, but nobody, like every gym kind of has like their own like trend with like what they do. They do like the strength event first, then there's like the AMRAP second, then it's like for time at the end where it's like kind of like, like the last piece. So I think that's really cool that some gyms do, some gyms don't. So that's like the beauty of these events too. It's all different. You never know what you're gonna get.
Cool. And then basically the last question. Maybe the last question. Any big goals or anything that like that's coming up for you, or we'll separate that. Any big goals for next year or beyond for you for MC, CrossFit, life?
So let's see. MCing, I just want to keep just getting some more places added to this resume. Add to this resume you've made for me. Thanks for writing them all out.
There you go. I'll send you the resume. Hey, actually, you're already shared on this, so you'll have it. You'll have the resume there.
So definitely just getting some more events under my belt, whether it be local, somewhere farther away, traveling a little bit more to do the events, because that's always what I wanted to do, go other places.
Cool.
Coaching, I'd love to get my level 3.
Cool.
I'm part of like a study group right now called The Knowledge. It's 2 days a week. And it's very fun. It's with other coaches that are either getting their level 3 or level 4, and it's fun to learn from them. Definitely recommend that for any coaches that are out there that want to just sit. It's like 2 Zoom calls a week. Just sit down and just be like, just learn from other people. It's really fun. L3. And then as far as life, just, very happy with the girlfriend, Kate. She's fantastic. Her and our dog, Sosa, hopefully buying a house sometime soon.
Cool.
Her and I will plan out some travel after Greece. We'll go over there, hang out, probably get really sunburnt, eat lots of feta, drink wine. And
Love it.
come home and then figure out where we're going next. So lots of
Awesome.
travel, lots of cool stuff planned with her.
Glad to hear it. That's
Yeah.
awesome. Anything else? I know you've done a pretty good job of giving everybody their flowers, but anything else you want to plug or shout out or?
Let's see. Who else do I want to shout out? Probably I should shout out my mom. She'll listen to this.
There we go.
She's cool. She's the best. Kelly, my boss, Kelly Vosser. I shouldn't say my boss. She's one of my closest friends. She is my boss, though. She's the coolest, and she is so much fun to work with and so much fun to work for. And she's been a gem with, me going all over the place. And also, our families have become close. That's really cool.
Cool.
She's the best. All my people at Spark, you guys are awesome. You guys are the best. All my coaches, I wish I could name them all. There's a good amount of them, but they're all wonderful people. And let's see. MBM. If you are out there, can I plug this? Is this cool?
Yes.
If you're listening, if you made it this far, congratulations. You've listened to me and Matt for over an hour. You must have had the best day ever.
Yes.
MBM programming made by Mason. Pete and I work on this together. General programming where you can just kind of follow the daily blog that we put up. And then also we do individualized stuff. So if you want to just get fitter for a local comp, get fitter for the big comps, hopefully I'll see you there on the mic and maybe even be your coach.
Hey.
But yeah, check it out. MBM programming.
Very cool. And then the last piece I leave you with is I don't know if you saw this in the outline I sent over, but favorite quote.
Quote.
So the way I describe this is what's the major highway near you in Andover? Is it Route 2?
I would say like 93, 95. Route 1's a big one.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, we'll go 95. That's the one that goes Florida to Maine, so we'll choose that one. So you get a billboard on 95 for the day, and you can put whatever you want on it. Usually it's a favorite quote, favorite mantra, favorite saying, but something you would want to just put out to your community.
So my favorite quote, and I found this on Morning Chalk Up when they used to post quotes every day, and I had it in my Instagram bio, the most important place to put it.
Yes, of course. That's your billboard.
But there is no better, I believe, I might butcher this, there is no better feeling than making people feel worthwhile in this world.
Love that.
And I love that because it's like as coaches, it's what we do every day. We make people feel better about themselves. We make people feel better about what they did. We make people feel better about chasing their goals, their dreams, whether it be something physical, non-physical. And I think, to keep it short, as it's been a while, I think every person in the world can do a better job of doing that. And that would definitely make, the sunshine a little brighter and make the world a happier place.
Love it.
Thank
Hell
you.
yeah.
Thank you.
Hey, we'll mic drop with that.
I love
Cam,
it. Hey,
awesome.
appreciate you.
Of course.
Thanks
you so
for
much
coming
for
on.
It's been a blast. You crushed it. And Roadie Strength, we are signing off. Sweet. Thanks, man. Dude, good stuff.